You're sitting at your kitchen table on a Sunday morning, coffee in hand, scrolling through your retirement account on your phone. You see that number. Maybe it's 47,000, maybe it's 120,000, maybe it's 210,000. And there's this weird feeling in your chest. Not quite panic, but not comfort either. Because you're in your early 40s or late 30s, or maybe you just turned 50. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you've always had this assumption, this quiet belief, that even if you mess up a little, even if you don't save enough, even if life gets in the way, Social Security will be there, not to make you rich, just there, as a floor, as a backup plan. And then you see a headline, something about 2033, something about trust funds running out. And you think, that's probably fine. They'll figure it out. They always do. Except this time, the math isn't on your side. If you were born between 1975 and 1990, you are about to experience something no generation of American retirees has faced in nearly a century. And the decisions you make in the next 18 to 24 months are going to determine whether you retire with dignity or spend your 70s making brutal compromises. And here's what I eventually figured out. After spending an embarrassing amount of time digging through Social Security trustee reports, Federal Reserve data, and talking to people who actually model this stuff for a living. My name's on the channel, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is this. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a politician. I'm someone who, like you, looked at the Social Security projections a few years ago and thought, well, surely they'll fix it. And then I kept reading. And what I found wasn't some doomsday conspiracy theory. It was just math. Boring, congressional, publicly available math that almost nobody under 60 is paying attention to. And when I finally understood what it meant for people our age, people who still have 15, 20, 25 years until retirement, I realized we have a very narrow window to act, not to panic, not to hoard gold or move to Costa Rica, just to adjust the plan. So let me show you what's coming, what it actually means in real dollars, and, most importantly, what you can do starting this month that will completely insulate you from this. Let me introduce you to two people. Marcus is 42. He's a project manager at a mid-sized logistics company in Ohio. Makes about $78,000 a year. Has a 401(k) with around $95,000 in it. He contributes 6% because that's what his company matches. He's vaguely aware Social Security exists. He figures he'll get something when he retires at 67. He hasn't checked the specifics. Elena is also 42. She's a high school teacher in North Carolina. Makes about $52,000 a year. Has a 403 read with about $68,000 in it. She contributes a little more, about 8%, because she's always been a planner. She's a high school teen to percent. She's a high school teen to praxen. But here's the key difference. Last year, Elena read a headline about Social Security cuts. And instead of scrolling past it, she stopped. She ran the numbers. And she made one specific change to her savings plan. Same age. Similar middle-class incomes. Both have some retirement savings. By the time they're both 70, Elena will have about $340,000 more than Marcus. Not because she earned more. Not because she got lucky with stocks. Because she understood what's about to happen in 2033, and Marcus didn't. There's the thing about Social Security that most people don't realize. It's not a savings account with your name on it. It's not like your 401(k) where your contributions sit there growing. Social Security is more like a plane with two engines. One engine is people currently working and paying payroll taxes. That's you, me, everyone with a W-2 job. The other engine is the Social Security Trust Fund. Basically a reserve tank that was built up over decades when more money was coming in than going out. Right now, both engines are running. Retirees get their checks. The system works. But here's what's happening. One of those engines is about to sputter out. According to the 2024 Social Security Trustees Report, this isn't speculation. This is the government's own projection. The trust fund will be completely depleted by 2033. Not in trouble. Not running low. Empty. And when that happens, Social Security will only be able to pay out what's coming in from current payroll taxes, which, according to their math, will cover about 77% of scheduled benefits. Let me say that differently. If you're supposed to get $2,000 a month in Social Security at age 67, you might only get 50-40 every month for the rest of your life. Now, will Congress step in and fix it before then? Maybe. There are proposals. Raising the payroll tax cap, adjusting the retirement age, means testing benefits. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. Even if they don't fix it, the fix will hurt people in their 40s and 50s the most. Because we're too young to be protected by grandfather clauses and too old to adjust our entire career earnings. We're the generation flying on that plane when one engine cuts out. And the pilots are still arguing about whether to turn around. Let me show you what this actually looks like in dollars. Let's go back to Marcus, our 42-year-old project manager. He's planning to retire at 67. Based on his earnings history, Social Security estimates he'll receive about $2,400 a month in today's dollars. Over a 25-year retirement, living to 92, that's $2,400 per month times 12 months times 25 years, which equals $720,000 in lifetime Social Security benefits. That's his plan. That's what he's counting on to supplement his 401k. But if the trust fund runs dry and benefits get cut to 77%, here's his new reality. 2,400 times 0. 77 earning 48 per month. Over that same 25-year retirement, 1,848 times 12 times 25 equals $500,000, 54,400. He just lost 165,600 income. Read that again. Not over his lifetime earnings. 2,848 per 7,848 per month. Not some abstract number. 165,600 he was counting on. Gone. Now let's look at Elena, the teacher who decided to act. She saw this coming. So 2 years ago, when she was 40, she made a specific decision. She increased her 403b contribution from 8% to 12%. On her $52,000 salary, that's an extra $2,080 per year going into her retirement account. It hurt a little. She had to cut back on some things. Fewer dinners out, delayed a bathroom remodel, kept her car another 2 years. But here's what happens with that extra $2,008 per year over the next 25 years until she's 67. Assuming a modest 7% average annual return, she accumulates an additional $136,000. But wait, it gets better. Because that $136,000 doesn't just sit there after she retires. It keeps growing. Even if she withdraws 4% per year, the standard safe withdrawal rate, that extra nest egg generates $5,440 per year in retirement income. That's $453 per month for the rest of her life. So when Social Security gets cut and Elena loses about $550 a month from her expected benefit, she's already replaced 82% of that loss. Marcus hasn't, because Marcus didn't know, or didn't believe it, or thought he'd deal with it later. Same starting point, one decision. $340,000 difference over a lifetime. Let that land for a second. That's what nobody talks about. The people who are gonna be fine when Social Security gets cut. High earners, and people who don't need it. If you're making $200,000 plus a year, maxing out your 401k, living in a paid-off house, and Social Security was always just bonus money to you, a 23% benefit cut is annoying but survivable. If you're low income and qualify for Medicaid, food assistance, housing support, you'll suffer, don't get me wrong, but there's at least a social safety net patchwork. It's the middle that's gonna get crushed. The people making $50,000 and $90,000. The people who did everything right, worked their whole lives, paid into the system, saved a little, but not a ton, and planned on Social Security making up 30 to 40% of their retirement income. And those people are going to be 68 years old, facing a $400 to $600 per month shortfall, with no time to fix it. And you know what the advice will be at that point? Go back to work. Downsize your home. Move in with your kids. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it because the uncomfortable truth is this. The Social Security crisis is, functionally, a wealth transfer from the middle class to the upper class. Because the people who see it coming and have the ability to adjust will be fine. And the people who don't, whether because they can't afford to save more, or because they're not paying attention, will bear the full weight of the cut. That's not fair, but it's what the math shows. Okay, so you're watching this and thinking, great, terrifying, but how do I actually survive this phase? Because it's one thing to say save more. It's another thing to do it when rent went up, grocery bills doubled, and your kid needs braces. And the honest answer is, you have to get comfortable with strategic discomfort now to avoid catastrophic discomfort later. Here are 3 practical moves. Move 1, the 2% annual raise redirect. Don't increase your 401k or IRA contribution by some overwhelming amount today. You'll burn out. Instead, every time you get a raise, redirect half of it to retirement. Got a 4% raise? Increase your retirement contribution by 2%. And you still get a lifestyle bump. But your future self gets protected. Most people lifestyle inflate every raise. This splits the difference. Move 2. The Roth IRA Social Security Replacement Fund. If you're eligible, income limits apply. Open or max out a Roth IRA. That's $7,000 a year if you're under 50, $8,000 if you're 50 or older. Mentally label this. This is my backup, Social Security. Because here's the magic. Roth IRA withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. So if Social Security gets cut and you need to replace $500 a month, pulling from a Roth doesn't create a tax bump like pulling from a traditional 401 does. Move 3. Run your actual Social Security estimate. Go to Essay, Gov My Account right now. Create an account. Look at your estimated benefit. Then multiply it by 0.77 to see your worst case scenario. Now ask yourself, can I retire on that? If the answer is no, you now have a specific number to aim for in your own savings. Vague anxiety doesn't change behavior. Specific dollar shortfalls do. Let me talk to 3 different people watching this right now. If you're in your late 30s or early 40s and you're just starting to save, you have the most powerful asset in investing, time. You have 25 plus years until retirement. You don't need to panic. You don't need to save $2,000 a month. If you can put away $300 a month into a Roth IRA or 401k starting today and you never touch it, you'll have about $284,000 by age 67, assuming 7% returns. That is more than enough to replace a Social Security cut. Your one job start this month. Automate it. Forget it exists. If you're in your mid-40s to mid-50s and you've been saving but not aggressively, you're in the squeeze zone. You have some money saved but not enough to ignore this. Here's your move. Increase contributions by 3 to 5% this year. I know it's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. And if you have any windfalls, tax refund, bonus, inheritance, don't lifestyle creep. Put 80% of it straight into retirement. You're not building wealth for fun right now. You're building a moat around your future. If you're in your late 50s or early 60s and you're behind, first, you're not alone. The Federal Reserve reported that the median retirement account balance for people aged 55 to 64 is about $85,000. You're in the majority. Second, you can't outsave this in 5 to 10 years. But you can out. Consider delaying Social Security until age 70. Benefits increase 8% per year after full retirement age. Consider working part-time in early retirement to delay drawing down savings. Consider downsizing your home now while you have energy and agency, not at 75 when you're forced to. And starters don't win by saving more. They win by spending smarter in retirement. Here's what I keep coming back to. Social Security was never supposed to be the whole plan. It was supposed to be one leg of a 3-legged stool, Social Security, pensions, and personal savings. But pensions disappeared for most of us, and Social Security is about to shrink, which means, whether we like it or not, the third leg has to get a lot stronger. And the strange, quiet truth I've come to accept is this. The people who will thrive in retirement 20 years from now won't be the ones who earn the most. They'll be the ones who saw this coming and adjusted. Not with panic, not with perfection, just with small, boring, consistent decisions made in their 40s that compound into freedom in their 70s. You still have time, but the window is narrowing, and doing nothing is now officially a decision with a price tag. If this helped you see the math more clearly, consider subscribing. I make videos like this every week breaking down the retirement stuff nobody explains in plain language. And if you found this valuable, the algorithm loves comments, so drop a line below. What's your biggest worry about Social Security? Are you adjusting your plan or waiting to see what happens? I read everything. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.